All right, so this is the last part of the rapid energy healing cycle that involves the masculine and the feminine energy. This is part 4, so if you have not seen all of the other parts, you should probably look at parts 1, 2, and 3 and then come back to this video. Okay. So I want to go into a little bit more detail about the cycling that happens between the masculine and the feminine energy. The masculine and the feminine energy, or the masculine and the feminine, will continue to do this cycling, this coming into orbit with each other's aura and falling out of orbit until one or both decide that this is not viable for their survival, or it's not viable for the energetic healing that needs to take place within one or both of the individuals in this cycle. Or until both of them, and it has to include both of them, until both of them decide to adhere and to continue this life path or this journey together. The next note that I'd like to make about this orbiting and falling in and out of orbit with each other in order for the maximum amount of healing is the fact that you can have more than one cycling going at one time. What I mean is, so as a feminine, let's just say let's say there are two people that I am constantly falling in and out of orbit with. So one during one season, I'm in orbit with one masculine energy who either we're coming together and we're trying to figure it out subconsciously or consciously, trying to figure out whether or not this is something that's going to heal either of us. At the same time, or during different seasons, I could also be orbiting with another masculine energy until one of them adheres or sticks and provides the type of space that needs to be provided in order for a feminine energy to comfortably live in her emotional body and to experience safety in that exchange. Also, this orbiting that you're doing, this dance between the masculine and the feminine energy, can take place in a romantic context or in a platonic context. So an example of a platonic energetic cycling between a feminine and a masculine energy could be like a daughter and a dad. In this connection, in this cycling, the father is supposed to be the masculine energy that creates a space for his daughter in order for her to sit in her feminine energy and to be safe and secure in her emotions, allowing her to be healed. Now, I talked about orbiting, and what I mean is you are like a planet, okay? When you meet someone or you come into contact with someone, that is them being pulled into your orbit. Once someone is pulled into your orbit, they either continue to cycle in and out with you in your orbit, or, like I said, I think in the second video, or you get released and it is deemed that this cycling or this relationship or this connection is not sufficient enough for the healing that needs to take place. And one or both will decide to leave. Now, what does this cycling look like if you're pulling someone in your orbit? Okay, so let's say you meet somebody out in a store today, right? You have no intentions on keeping up with them. So you never get their information, you never get their name, you never get their number or anything like that. You don't even follow them on social media, but you met them in person. A few months later, or even a few years later, you may run into that same person out in public. This happens to many people. This is just a representation of the orbiting that you two are now doing together. Or orbiting can also look like having an interaction with a person, like an actual intimate interaction, not necessarily, but just a sharing of emotions, right? And then let's say something doesn't turn out right, one blocks the other, right? But then maybe years later, or maybe weeks later, they unblock them. That's also a representation of orbiting. So coming in and going out, coming in and going out. Another representation of orbiting is maybe you become a partner with someone. So like, let's say you get a boyfriend or you get a girlfriend, whatever. That is now, it's a mini orbit, but it's still an orbit because you're not together all the time. You might go to work and then come back later and see this person. That is a miniature version of orbiting. It would be like the difference between the planets orbiting the sun, which is a long orbit, which is why you have 4 different seasons, versus the moon orbiting the sun, which is a very short 23 days, which is why you have the moon phase cycles. And the last thing that I want to say about this, to wrap it all up, is that this healing process, because it involves masculine and feminine energy, and we all have masculine or feminine energy. I know I started out by saying man and woman, but it's just the most readily available terms that I can use that people understand. But switching from saying man and woman to masculine and feminine energy, This healing process can take place within different variations of the pairing of masculine and feminine energy. What do I mean by this? I mean that if a woman is carrying herself heavily in her masculine energy, she can create this healing space for another woman who is in her feminine energy. Or if a man is in his feminine energy and another man is in his masculine energy, the man in his masculine energy can create this space for a man that is in his feminine energy. And energy, whether it's masculine or feminine, is characterized by actions, not the appearance of what one looks like. The most masculine person I ever met was a woman, and she looked like a woman. She carried herself like a woman, but she was driven. She created safe spaces. She was a masculine. Due to the genetic and biological differences between men and women, I do assume that the healing process is not as potent as it is between the man and the woman, because those are biological inherent differences that fit like a socket and a plug. It just is what it is. However, because we're talking about energy healing, it can be replicated in other vessels, i.e., what I just explained previous to saying that. But again, the rapid healing energy cycle between the masculine and the feminine is the highest timeline because, as I said in the first or the second video, these two together collapse time. They collapse the amount of time that it takes to heal. And they also create a larger healing aura between the two of them once they come together, as opposed to someone who is alone or being single or whatever. However, not every person is going to live out the highest timeline of the universe. This is the highest universal timeline. There are other timelines within this that are perfectly okay to participate in. And not every person is fit or qualified or even wants to take part in the rapid healing energy cycle between the masculine and the feminine energy. And that is perfectly fine. Some people just don't have the fortitude, the strength, the patience that it takes, because this is no joke, in order to create space and heal, or even to allow themselves to heal in this way. I want to say in this way, because you can heal outside of this cycling. But again, it takes a little longer. So I hope this answers any questions or any thoughts that you might have been thinking or having as it pertains to the masculine and the feminine creating space for each other to heal rapidly. Be sure to visit www.GodstyleBilal.com in order to get more resources and information on energy healing. And drop a comment below and tell me what you think about what I said. Make sure you watch all 4 parts. I love you so very much, and until next time.